Welcome back to CoinFlip. I'm Derek Wu, and today we're talking about something that affects 7.5 million people, according to CNBC and the U.S. Department of Education, and most of them have no idea the clock is already ticking. Here's the situation. The SAVE plan, the Biden-era student loan repayment program, was killed by a federal court in March 2026. If you're one of those 7.5 million borrowers still sitting in SAVE, you have until roughly September 30th to pick a new repayment plan. Miss that window, and you get auto-enrolled into Standard Repayment, which carries the highest monthly payments of any available option. For a lot of borrowers who were paying $0 a month, that could mean hundreds of dollars in new bills overnight. So today, we're going to give you the full picture, and I mean practical, usable information, not just the summary of what happened. First, we set the context. How did we get here? What exactly ended? And why the September deadline matters more than the July 1 date you might have seen in the headlines. Then we look at the three repayment options now on the table. RAP, which is the brand new Repayment Assistance Plan launching July 1, the Tiered Standard Plan, and IBR, Income-Based Repayment. Each one calculates your monthly payment differently, and the difference for your actual budget can be significant depending on your income, your family size, and how many forgiveness years you've already banked. After that, I'll walk you through a three-question decision tree to figure out which plan actually fits your situation. No finance degree required. The important thing to understand is that a directional decision made today beats a perfect decision made in October when your servicer has already moved you. And we close with three concrete action steps. Log in, apply now before the processing backlog gets worse, and if you have Parent Plus loans, there is a hard July 1 consolidation deadline you cannot afford to miss. Here's why this matters. The processing backlog for income-driven repayment applications was already over 576,000 as of February, according to CNBC. That number is going to climb. The borrowers who move first are the ones who get processed first. To put this in perspective, the optimal move here is any move. Waiting for perfect information on this one has a real cost attached to it. All right, let's get into it, starting with how we got here. Here's a number that should get your attention: 7.5 million. That's how many people are currently enrolled in a student loan repayment plan called SAVE, and according to CNBC, the U.S. Department of Education has officially told every single one of them they need to leave. The SAVE plan, which stands for Saving on a Valuable Education, was killed by a federal court in March 2026. Years of legal challenges, and that was the end. But here's the thing most borrowers haven't fully absorbed. During all that legal back and forth, payments were paused. No bills, no due dates, nothing hitting your bank account. That pause is called a forbearance. Think of it like a legal timeout on your loan. The court fight was still playing out, so the government held payments while it did. For a lot of borrowers, that meant months of genuinely not having to think about student loans at all, which sounds nice until you realize that the clock never actually stopped. It just went quiet. The College Investor reported that starting July 1, loan services began sending formal 90-day notices in waves. Borrowers who enrolled in SAVE the earliest get notified first. The practical end date lands around September 30th, 2026. After that, anyone who hasn't chosen a new plan gets auto-enrolled in either the Standard Repayment Plan or the new Tiered Standard Plan. Here's why that matters. The Standard Repayment Plan is based on your loan balance, not your income. Student Loan Assistance puts it plainly. Payments there are often much higher than anything you'd see under an income-driven plan. For the borrowers who had $0 monthly payments under SAVE, auto-enrollment could mean jumping from nothing to several $100s a month overnight. I had a client once who spent 4 months researching which index fund to buy. 4 months. The difference between his top two choices, about $12 a year in fees. Meanwhile, he'd missed 4 months of market gains. I always say, when the stakes are low, speed beats precision. But here's the flip side of that story. This isn't $12 a year. Auto-enrollment into the wrong plan is a real financial hit for a lot of people. The stakes are real, and the deadline is fixed. So the question worth sitting with is this. If your servicer is picking your plan for you, do you actually know what they're picking? So now, you know what's ending. The real question is, what are you moving to? 3 plans are on the table, and I want to give you enough on each one to actually make a decision, not just recognize the name. First up, RAP, the Repayment Assistance Plan. It launches July 1st, and according to the Library of Congress analysis of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, it works on a sliding scale from 1% to 10% of your adjusted gross income. Think of it like paying rent based on your paycheck. If you earn $45,000 a year, you're looking at roughly 5% of your AGI, which comes out to about $188 a month. Each dependent on your tax return knocks $50 off that bill. The floor is $10 a month. No more $0 payments, but close. Here's what makes RAP genuinely different from most repayment plans. 2 things work in your favor. Number 1, if your payment doesn't fully cover the interest that accrued that month, the government cancels the difference. Your balance cannot grow on-time payments. Number 2, the government guarantees at least $50 of every payment chips away at your principal. According to the College Investor, this is called the matching principal payment, and it's new. RAP also qualifies for public service loan forgiveness. Remaining balance, forgiven after 30 years. Now, option 2 is what happens if you do nothing, the tiered standard plan. Think of this as a fixed mortgage. Your term is 10, 15, 20, or 25 years, depending on how much you originally borrowed. Payments don't move with your income. They're fixed. Higher, often significantly higher for most people. The College Investor notes this is the auto-enrollment fallback, which is exactly why it matters to choose rather than drift. Option 3 is IBR, income-based repayment, and this one deserves a real mention because it's the actual competing choice for most SAVE borrowers who want income-driven payments. IBR uses discretionary income, which is your earnings above 150% of the poverty line, not your full AGI. That buffer can mean meaningfully lower payments at higher incomes. Forgiveness comes after 20 or 25 years, depending on when you first borrowed, which is faster than RAP's 30 years, and it qualifies for PSLF too. Here's the important thing to understand about IBR. You can only access it if your loans were first disbursed before July 1st, 2026. If you have pre-July 2026 loans and you're coming off SAVE, IBR is still available to you. But the window to enroll closes July 1st, 2028, per the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. After that, it's RAP or the standard plan. So, to recap the options cleanly, RAP is income-driven, launches July 1st, payments tied to your full AGI, balance can't grow, forgiveness in 30 years. The tiered standard plan is fixed, higher payments, no income adjustment, but you're done sooner. IBR is income-driven, uses a narrower income measure that often favors higher earners, forgiveness in 20 to 25 years. 3 plans, 3 different financial profiles, and which one is right for you comes down to a few specific questions about your situation. That's exactly where we're going next. So you've got 3 plans in front of you. Here's how to pick one in under 20 minutes. Question 1. Can you handle a fixed, higher monthly payment? If you've got a stable income and you just want to pay these loans off and move on with your life, the tiered standard plan probably costs you less over time. You pay more each month, but you carry the debt for fewer years. No forgiveness math required. If fixed payments would genuinely strain your budget, you need income-driven. That's where questions 2 and 3 come in. Question 2. Are you working toward PSLF or do you have a big household? Both RAP and IBR qualify for PSLF, so if public service forgiveness is your goal, the call is simpler. Whichever plan gives you the lower monthly payment wins. According to TateESQ.com, IBR uses a broader definition of family size. It can include domestic partners and people you financially support even if they're not on your tax return. RAP only counts dependents you actually claim, so if your household is bigger than your tax return shows, IBR may keep your bill lower. Question 3, and this one is the sleeper. How many years of payments do you already have banked on an income-driven plan? IBR forgives in 20 to 25 years. RAP takes 30. If you switch to RAP, per thecollegeinvestor.com, your forgiveness clock resets to that 30-year timeline. Payments you've already made do carry over to RAP's count, but RAP payments do not count backward to IBR's shorter timeline if you switch later. So if you're 8 years in on IBR, that 12-year gap is real money. Here's the thing. The loan simulator at studentaid.gov doesn't include RAP yet, so use the ED-CAP calculator at edcapny.org. It's free, and it models all three plans side by side with your actual income and family size. I spent 2 years doing nothing with my finances because I was hunting for the optimal strategy. The optimal approach was literally any approach. You don't need a perfect answer today. You need a directional one. 3 questions, 20 minutes. If you're ready to actually make the move, that's exactly where we're headed next. Now, the only thing left is execution. 3 steps, that's it. Step 1. Log into studentaid.gov right now and confirm which plan you're actually on. Many borrowers haven't checked in over a year. Also, verify your contact info with your servicer. According to the College Investor, notices go out in waves starting July 1st, and you do not want to miss yours. Step 2. Don't wait for that notice to arrive. The Philadelphia Inquirer reported a backlog of over 500,000 income-driven repayment applications as of February, with servicers clearing around 250,000 at a time. Submitting your switch application now puts you ahead of that queue. You can contact your servicer directly at any time. Step 3 is the one most people miss. If you hold Parent Plus loans, your deadline is July 1st itself, not 90 days after. Under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, consolidation into a direct consolidation loan must be completed before July 1st, or you permanently lose access to income-driven repayment. Given that processing takes 4 to 6 weeks, that window is effectively right now. Here's the thing. My dad kept his money in a savings account his whole life. Never invested, still retired fine. The point? An imperfect plan executed today is worth more than a perfect one you land on in October. Pick a direction, go. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of Coin Flip. Here's the one-sentence version of everything we just covered. If you're one of the 7.5 million borrowers still sitting in SAVE, the clock is no longer quiet. It is loud and it has a date on it. The moment that stuck with me today was the forbearance framing. The clock never actually stopped. It just went quiet. That was the danger for so many people. They haven't made a payment in almost 2 years, and the assumption is that nothing has changed. A lot has changed. And the reason I flipped my own anecdote on its head during this episode, the one about the client who spent 4 months researching index funds, is because this situation is different. That was a low-stakes delay. This one isn't. Auto-enrollment into the wrong plan is a real financial hit for a lot of people. So here's what you do. Go to studentaid.gov today. Confirm which plan you're on. If you're in SAVE, submit a switch application now before the processing backlog gets worse. According to the U.S. Department of Education, servicers begin issuing formal 90-day notices on July 1st. Do not wait for that letter to land before you act. And if you hold Parent Plus loans, July 1st is not just a notice date. It is a hard consolidation deadline. That one does not have a grace period built in. The 3 options we walked through, RAP, the Tiered Standard Plan, and IBR, each calculate payments differently and produce meaningfully different monthly numbers depending on your income, household size, and how many forgiveness years you've already banked. If we're not sure which fits, the EdCap calculator is a solid starting point. Run the numbers before you pick. A directional decision made today beats a perfect decision made in October. That's the whole thesis of this episode. If today helped, the best thing you can do is subscribe so you catch the next one. And if you've got a money decision you're stuck on, drop it in the reviews. We might just flip a coin on it next week. Thanks for spending time with CoinFlip. Go make the call.